going today? All the way there. Let's go. Happy Saturday, everybody. How are you doing? Hello, Mother. How are you?
Good morning.
Hello, everybody. I have my mother on today, and I'm very excited. I do not want to waste time because you know these minutes are precious and they are crucial. So, Mother, hello. How are you
Hello.
doing?
I'm doing great.
I think my father is in the background because I saw you look over. Hello, Father.
How you doing?
So, Mom. Everybody know my mom. She's not new to the podcast, so I don't really feel like I'm going to do a very formal introduction with her because she's been here before. But she has the story of the prophetess Deborah, the woman, the warrior, and the wife. So let's get into it, Mom.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank All the Way Podcast, Miss Keela B, for entrusting me with this assignment today. And so we're just going to get started. And the woman, the wife, and the warrior, the prophetess Deborah, we're going to start off and just touch on a little bit of each of one of these. As a woman, Deborah is the only female judge mentioned in the Bible. She served as a prophetess, a military leader, and an arbitrator in ancient Israel, responsible for bringing people back to God. As a wife, she was married to Lapidoth. We have to believe he was a supporter to her calling and leadership. He is not mentioned in the Bible except as her husband.
Okay.
He was in agreement. We have to believe that he was in agreement with her fulfilling her calling, her divine calling with God. As a warrior, she commanded military leader General Barak to prepare and organize an army against Canaan. General Sisera. We're gonna hear a little bit more about him shortly. Subsequently, leading Israel to 40 years of peace after a decisive victory. So, after 20 years of oppression in Israel, Deborah summoned General Barak to gather up 10,000 men at Mount Tabor and go to battle against General Sisera. Deborah told Barak that God said, I will draw them to the Kishon River and you will defeat them there. So Barak refused to go without Deborah by his side. I personally believe that when Deborah stated that to him, that he had a confirmation from God, because when something comes prophetic to you, then it's really a confirmation for you. And so he put together 10,000 volunteers. That was interesting. It's a lot of interesting things in this piece. And so he put together 10,000 volunteers, and she agreed to go with him, but she prophesied at that time to him that the ultimate glory of the victory will go to a woman instead of him. Okay. And so when I first started studying this out, I thought the woman was going to be Deborah, but we're going to see a little bit later that God had a different plan.
I love this plan.
She went and marched with him and his team. General Sisera, who is the enemy, got his army together, including 900 iron chariots. I had to mention that because that's going to become important in a second. And marched to Kishon River. General Sisera told that Barak and his army was camped at Mount Tabor. Mm-hmm. Deborah said to Barak, now is the time for action in verse 14. She said, now is the time for action. The Lord leads on as he already delivered Sisera into your hand. And so the prophetic word that Deborah had given him in the beginning is already coming to pass, because Sisera thinks that because he's coming there, he thinks he's surprising somebody, but you can never surprise God.
That's
God
right.
was on it. God was with them. And he said that you will defeat them at the Kishon River. And so Barak took his 10,000 men, and he had these specially made chariots that he brought, that they rode down with them. So what happened was is that they came to the mountain, and his men charged down the mountain. And so they charged after Sisera's men. And so there's 10,000 men Sisera has, there's 10,000 men that Barak has. And so as they come down the mountain, these chariots that they had these chariots specially built. And so these
Mhm.
chariots couldn't move. I didn't see in the scriptures why the chariots didn't move, but something had to happen. God did something and devised a plan for these 900 chariots not to move.
Right.
And so the word says that the Lord threw his enemy into a panic, both the soldiers and the charioteers. And so God will do that for you. God will
Mhm.
throw your enemies into a panic when your enemies is coming up against you, and God has already told you that you're going to win this battle. He's already said that. He said that
Right.
the battle is yours, and the battle is going to be at a specific place. He threw them into a panic. We see it in a different place in the word where he threw an army into a panic and they started killing each other. And
That's
so
wild.
God, yeah, God is, I'm telling you, God is something else, and you definitely
Mhm.
want him on your side. So
Period.
Caesarea, the interesting thing is Caesarea is the general. Caesarea is leading this army, and his 10,000 men are scattered. And it says he leaped from his chariot and escaped on foot. So he ran. This is
Mm.
the general of his army, and he ran. So he ended up at the tent of Jael, the wife of Heba the Kenite, for assistance. And so Jael went out to meet Sisera and invited him in, telling him that he will be safe. And so she took him into her tent. This is a lady that saw him. And I know, I don't know this, but I believe that she knew who he was, because when you got a war going on and people are interested in this type of thing, they're going to
Right.
know who the enemy is, and they're going to know who the victor is.
Right.
So she knew him probably because word, and word goes around. And so she knew Sisera. She knew Sisera was with this guy that had them oppressed for 20 years already.
Mhm.
So she said she told him that the word says she told him that he'll be safe. So he came in and he was tired and he was beat down, and he asked her for water and she gave him milk. And when I was studying this out, this part really jumped out at me. Why would she give him milk instead of the water that he asked for? So I looked it up.
Hmm.
And so milk, when milk is warmed, milk is like a relaxer, it's like a soother, and so
Mm.
it's a calmer. And so she gave him this milk, and he was already wiped out and tired. So she gave him this milk, and he just passed out pretty much. And
Yeah.
when you think about it, when you have your children and you have their babies, what do you give them at night when you get ready for them to lay down? You give them a
Warm
warm
milk.
milk. So she took a sharp tent peg. I don't know how long tent pegs are, but she took a sharp tent peg and a hammer and crept upon him as he slept. So went off into a deep sleep now, because first the tired and then the warm milk. She
Mhm.
drove the nail into his temples and it fastened to the ground. Now, this part jumped out at me too. And so I believe that an angel of God, because God is still on the case in this war, hit that hammer and drove that nail, and that it actually went into the ground. I don't know if her force could do that. And
Mhm.
so God was still there, and this woman hit it, but I believe that an angel came up behind it and hit that hammer and drove that thing into the ground, through his temple and into the ground.
Yeah,
So
through his
yeah,
temple.
yeah. So Jael went out to meet Barak and let him know what happened. And so she was talking to Barak, and then the hand of the children of Israel prospered. And in chapter 5, it tells us the children of Israel was in peace in their land for 40 years. So chapter 5, I would encourage you to go back and read the whole thing, chapter 4 and chapter 5, because it tells a lot of things. It tells about God not only using the army, it talked about him
Mhm.
using volunteers. I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, how you gonna round up 10,000 volunteers? Armies want to be paid. And so
Churches barely can get 20 volunteers. So
it's
I'm
funny.
just
And so and that was one of the points. The other point is that the prophetess Deborah marched with them. That's another thing. So that
yes.
was the warrior side. So she was out there pretty much directing traffic too, when she was out there and telling them, this is where we're going to go. This is where God's going to speak to you. And so we
Mhm.
have to believe when people when people speak into our lives, we have to know who's speaking to us.
That's
We have to
right.
know what they're saying to us, and they're confirmations from God. And so they went, and they said that they were in the land of Israel. The land of Israel was in peace for 40 years, and they sang and praised God. That's another thing. When we get these victories from God, and these victories come to us, it comes to all of us, all of
That's
his
right.
children. And when these
Hmm.
victories come, God will give you a song to sing. I couldn't do the song because that would have just took up a lot of time. But go back and read the song that her and Barak was singing, that Deborah and Barak was singing, and praise God for the victory. And every time we have a victory, every time we have a prayer answered, it's up to us to praise God and give
Yes.
God the glory for giving us that victory, because he loves us and he wants us to be victorious in everything that we do. And Jael was prophesied that she was going to be the woman that actually took care of this general. The men took care of the 10,000 people, but she had
Hmm.
one guy that she came into. And then about this, her giving this warm milk was just, it was just an interesting part to me. So the conclusion is that God can and will send people to help you fight your battles.
I
Don't
love
think
that.
you're out there by your side, by yourself, because he will send
Period.
the right people to help you fight your battles. He tells us in his word that the battle is his and not ours. And so the
Hmm.
thing is, we have to make sure that we believe that he when he says this, that we believe that is so. And we have to believe that. His
I
word
love
that the
that.
battle is his and not yours. He will tell you when to move, and he'll tell you when to sit and wait. And another thing is, he speaks to women. He spoke to
Hmm.
the prophetess Deborah. I
Hmm.
believe he spoke to Jael for her
Hmm.
to just bring
Definitely.
this guy. And he also spoke to Barak, who was the captain over that army. I just believe he
Mm.
spoke to all of those people. And so Keela likes challenges, and so I'll put a challenge out for you this week. And so this week, learn and practice hearing the voice of God. The Word tells us in John chapter 10, it says, "My sheep knows my voice, and a stranger
Yes.
they will not follow." And so we'll be have to get in a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, where we know the voice of God. We know that it's him,
Yes.
and that it's not the enemy speaking to us. And we have to learn, and this week, learn how to move when he says move, when he says move,
Yes.
not when we think it's time.
And
Learn to
that's so
discern,
important.
yes, and learn to discern what is being said to you and over you. Because God has a place and victories for all of us, because we're his children and he loves his children. So I'm glad that I had the opportunity to talk about the prophetess Deborah today.
Yeah, it was good. You know what that story makes me think of, though? It makes me think of, you said how the Lord will send people to fight for you. Man, do you
Yes,
remember when I was in middle school and I was walking home? I was getting on the bus and
yes,
everybody was
yes,
like, it was a girl that lived across the street from us. She wasn't my real cousin, but we would tell people we were cousins.
yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, your cousin beat this girl up." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, what happened?" Well, the girl had been talking about me, y'all, and I didn't know. And so here I am walking around like doo 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 doo, and my play cousin had took care of that situation.
On
Do
the
you remember
bus,
that on the
on the
bus?
bus. Yeah,
And the girl never bothered me again after that. So
yeah,
I'm saying that to say that I know that is a physical story,
yeah.
but somebody was taking care of me and I was unaware is what I'm
Unaware.
saying. I had no
That's
clue
good. Yeah.
that my play cousin was fighting my battles. I didn't
Yes.
even know that there was a battle. So
Right.
what I'm saying is I love how God did that for this army because he was taking care of them. A girl come through a tent, give some more milk to soothe
Yeah.
this person
Yeah.
over and just take care of things. Like God is strategically
Yes.
doing things for people.
Yes.
That's what I love about that. That really
Yeah.
made me think back on that. I need to call tequila.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that was good. It was, like I said, it was a lot of good things in there. And, when people talk about the prophetess Deborah, we can talk about her because she was a woman, she was a wife, and she was a warrior. But the thing is that it was a lot more in that. It was a short a short chapter, but
Right.
it's a lot of good in it, things that we can learn about God fighting our battles, because I think sometimes even Christians don't even believe that God will fight
Yeah.
the battles for you. And the small battles, like that thing you had, that deal you had on the bus, and this thing is worked out, and you don't even know that it happened. He shielded you from all of that.
He
So
shielded me from
yeah,
all of that. I
yeah,
feel like I've been shielded from so much in life. Remember, I tell you that all the time. I'd be like, I
yeah.
didn't even know they were talking about me. I didn't
Talking
even
about
know.
me, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's almost kind of like I really love that aspect of the story. But what I love most is that God used a woman.
yes, yes,
And so many people feel like women cannot be used
yes,
in ministry. They will
yeah,
use them for other things, but not
right,
use them for things such as this.
yes,
You know what
yes,
I mean? So
right.
I really love that about God. Now give us a challenge one more time.
Okay, so the challenge is this week, learn and practice, because we have to practice this, hearing the voice of God and acting on it. And so learn and practice hearing God's voice, and learn how to move when He says move. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times people move too fast, and it might be a job situation or something, and you say, "Oh, I think I'm gonna go over here and take this job," and God is unctioning you and telling you that this is not the one. And then
Right.
we move out, and then we don't have good success on the job. And
Yeah.
so we have to learn how to move when He says move, and learn to discern what is being said to you
That's so
and
important.
over you. And that was a good part in that story, because Barack, he just said, "Look, I'll go if you go." And I believe that was part of God's plan. I just believe it was
Exactly.
information for him. And all of this was part of God's plan. Just like that angel hitting that hammer
Right.
and driving. How you going to drive a temple, something through the ground too?
That's
So,
right.
right. So, uh, but that's what the challenge is this week, is just start learning to and discerning and practicing hearing God's voice.
So what I hear you say in the voice of Ludacris, now you know who Ludacris is, the rapper.
Yes, yes.
God is saying, when I move, you move. Just like that.
Yeah.
That's a rap song, Mom.
Oh, that's a
But I
wreck.
know you know Ludacris from Fast and Furious. You don't know
Yeah,
him as
Fast and
a
Furious.
rapper.
Yes,
But when I move, you move. Just like that. That's how God
yes,
operates.
yes,
And that's how you have to be completely lined up and using the discernment, because sometimes people throw this word discernment around, but
right.
it really is, you have to be connected to God to have the discernment. Like
Absolutely,
I think we all have,
absolutely.
like people say intuition and whatever, but
Yes,
you
yes,
have to be connected to God to fully trust in him, to know, is this God or is this me? And sometimes you even still feel like it might be you, but you
yes,
know it's God when it's
yeah.
like, okay, I know that was God because I wouldn't have made that move.
I
I
wouldn't have
wouldn't
made
have
that
thought
move.
about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right.
So this
Yeah.
was really good. I love that God used some very powerful women to tell these different stories of women in the Bible, because so many women sit on the sidelines, um, just feeling like they're supposed to be doing paperwork or whatever. But God have us out here in the field.
In the field. Yes.
That's what
Yes.
he created us for. He created each and every one of us, men and women, to do his
Yeah.
work, to get his word into the earth. So that's what we're here for. You're not a sideline person, is what
Right.
I like. And
Yes. Yes.
JL, I just not only love that name, but I
Yeah.
love what she brought to the story too, because that
Absolutely.
was very
Yeah.
powerful.
She brought a big deal to the table. And then for Deborah to say to the guy that it's going to be a woman that's going to take credit for this, and who's
Hmm.
going to get the glory from this battle, not you. So,
That's
or
right.
not a man, she said. Yeah.
And I
So
know we are ending it, but Deborah, she was a wife, she was a warrior, she was a prophet. I mean, this
yes,
lady had a lot of hats on.
she
So,
did. She did. And I think about us, women today. Women have children, they have homes, they have husbands, they have jobs,
yeah.
they have careers. And so you can walk and chew gum, so to speak, so yeah,
Walk and chew gum at the same time,
at the
period.
same time,
So,
period.
but thank you, Mom, for coming
Yeah.
on. And thank
Well,
you,
I'm glad. Thank you so
everybody
much for
that
having
chimed
me.
in. Mother, don't hang up. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So see you next Saturday. It's the men's month for June. So you guys gonna have a list of different men. My father, first of all, and then there will be some other men. So join us next week. We'll see you guys then. Have a good Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm next week.